Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We are with comic Jessica Saul. Jessica Saul, how the hell are you?
Oh, Brian, I'm alive. How are you?
Yes, you're better than some people.
Oh, good.
You're
I'm
better
a
than hundreds of thousands of people worldwide who are no longer alive. And I'm so
yes.
glad that we're around to laugh to, I was about to say laugh about it, but like,
No,
we're around to laugh despite it. How about that?
we are laughing, we are crying, we're saving money in spite of
Yes.
hundreds of lives, hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of lives being taken from us.
Well, we have to laugh, not to cry. And so one of the people helping us laugh, not cry, is Jessica Saul. And across all social, she is Better Call J Saul, because if you want a funny tweet or a funny video, she's got a lot of them on Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
That's where you'll find me on the
Yeah,
internet.
on that www.intranets.com. And then she's also jessicataylorsall.com. And so some of, maybe, you're doing stand up too, I see here with you with the microphone. And so you're doing stand up on Zoom too and Instagram Live? Are you doing parks, or are you trying to stay virtual, and that's why you're doing more
I
Instagram videos?
Right. So I have done a few virtual shows. I don't know if I quite know what stand up is anymore. Um, but I did a Zoom show. And then Instagram Live is strange because you try to engage with the person because you feel like they're your only audience. But the one time I did a show, I was like, you ever try birth control? Like you're not to, and it's like a guy who's just like, what? And I was like, okay. Also, 5 people were watching, so like I don't
Yeah.
know what he is anymore. So I've been trying to do videos. I feel like it's the only platform that makes me sane.
And then, yeah, what kind of stuff are you doing in your front facing videos? I see it. I mean, sometimes you look like you're just
Right.
like one time are you smoking a blunt or a cigar or something, and then sometimes it looks like you're ranting, and sometimes I almost thought I recall a crying video, if that sounds you have a
Yes,
wig
yes,
on. You almost look like Laverne or Shirley in that one.
yes. There are many wigs, which is such a scare. When I was staying in my apartment alone, when my roommate wasn't there for a few weeks, like I just had a bag of wigs out, and every time I walked in my room, it's like a horrifying thing because you know that it's yours, but you also think that like some axe murderer came and just put a bunch of heads in a bag. Like it's such a horrible thing to look at, a bag of wigs. I do try and make some random videos, whatever, when I'm sitting on the couch and I feel something that needs to be shared with the world, even though it probably shouldn't. I put it on Instagram.
And so, yeah, so what are some recent videos that have had success, and what do you think, does well on Instagram versus something like TikTok?
So we're gonna use success as a loose term here.
It's all
Because
relative, but it seems like the
everything's
success on Instagram could be slightly more genuine. It sounds like certain comedians on TikTok they just immediately have millions of followers, and people are starting to be like, is that real?
Let's talk about the talk. It's been the TikTok. I feel 1,000 years old because you go on and immediately there's just like sounds coming from everywhere. There's like all these effects. I would be lying if I didn't say that I sat on my couch for I think what I lost 2 hours of my life just like doing effects, and I couldn't film anything because I felt like an idiot. And they make it so complicated that they have videos about how to use TikTok on TikTok that go viral. And I'm like, what is this platform? But I just am baffled by like the billions of views. Like it's not millions, it's billions. Like the amount of money that Jeff Bezos acquires in a day is how many views someone gets on TikTok in
That's
like an
crazy.
hour.
That can't
And
be
so
right. Like, are there that many people on social media even? I don't know.
don't understand it. It like half feels real and then it half doesn't. And then there's like makeup tutorials that so I like to do fake makeup tutorials because I think that that's better than real ones.
Yeah.
But the makeup tutorials have 30 million views. Like I just don't understand the platform and how it gets that many people so fast.
Is it autoplay so that one person watching TikTok will account for several views on one video just because it autoplays and it's short?
Who knows? But probably, because you know what? I'm guilty of watching a makeup tutorial 10 times yesterday, even though I was like, this is so stupid. I hate this. Also, she's so beautiful. How does she make her eyebrows look like that?
Are they short? Are they a minute long or what are they?
I think so. TikTok does like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds, I think. So the
Okay.
15-second ones, I don't know. So I did my first, I've had it for a while. I keep posting old Instagram videos on TikTok, and then I keep deleting them when it's like 5 views. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing. And I can't seem to get what the kids want. I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
So you're like, so you just have to figure out how to get like naming your video a certain way, or making it clear that it's a comedy video. Like maybe they think you're an
Right.
actual, an actual makeup artist, and they're like, I don't trust her yet. Like, it's just
Right.
packaging Jessica Saul for TikTok such that everybody's like, oh, this is, comedy content that I can trust.
Right. I don't know if I need to make satire any clearer that I have makeup down my face and it's a fake makeup
Yeah.
tutorial.
Yeah, I would think that'd be immediately clear that it's comedy. Like, recently I read something like, they're starting to make the connection that certain outfits, a certain person is only billed as fashionable because that person is thin, pretty, and probably young or famous. Like, and so because you do these makeup comedy things, do you agree that, the same outfit on a 400 pound person could look good on somebody who's maybe 100 pounds and famous and young?
Yeah, that's all perception and beauty. The whole beauty industry is twisted. The whole, oh, you have to be thin and look a very certain way was created by, which is perpetuated by, which I love gay men to death, but they mostly run the industry. And that is, they just, this skinny perfection image is finally we're adopting a new way to see women and to see beauty. So I think that like, yeah, anyone can be quote unquote beautiful, and anything can be, well, not anything, but can be funny, quote unquote.
Do we think one of the topics that, my guest supply topics, and I picked from a couple, and one of the topics that I liked is on this general area. And what can you say about, just kind of resentment when it comes to, somebody's success on something like TikTok, having very little to do with maybe their comic chops, as it were.
I mean, I think it's great that you're able to work the system and to build. I know people that work really hard to do it and to build it. What the resentment comes from is just like all the money I poured into acting classes and open mics and just trying and like going to these workshops and like getting new representation and trying to just be an actor in New York City, and then like you see someone get a billion views on TikTok or whatever, and then they're like, oh, they have representation and their career's taking off in like 5 days. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I'm proud of whoever gets to do that. However, you can't, ignore that there's like the tiniest little bit of eye twitch anytime you see that.
Yeah, I guess the way you phrased it was current success made in the acting comedy industry relying heavily on strong social media presence. And I guess the acting comedy industry complex in New York City was probably perpetuating these beneficial, these kind of, oh, you got to take this workshop and you got to get this agent. And the way you get this agent is paying for the showcase or paying for these
Right.
headshots or whatever. So it's like
It's so,
beating yourself up that you were duped before now.
it's such a catch. The whole industry, a lot of it is such a catch 22 because you can't get representation without getting in the room. You can't get in the room if you don't have credits. You can't get credits if you don't have representation. And we're back at square one. So you have to just work on, which is why I essentially started doing stand up, because I came to New York to do acting. And I was like, oh, quirky brunette in her 20s, line up. Like there's 100 billion of you. So you want to share your own voice, which is why I genuinely do have such a passion for comedy, because you get to create your own content and share it with whoever's watching, which is mostly just my mother and 5 friends. But you at least have the opportunity to create. Whereas traditionally, if you just came to do acting and you have comedic chops, but you don't necessarily do stand up or sketch or improv, then you're essentially just auditioning for things that are already written for you. So now the industry is shifting towards you have to make your own work. And I respect that.
Yeah, it's also
However,
it's real freeing, right? Like so now that you don't need to, buy headshots or pay for open mic or whatever the hell. Like now you can just do what Jessica Saul does best, which is front facing videos on Instagram. They're subsequently chopped up and packaged neatly into TikTok.
love a front page. What do you call it? Front
Yeah,
facing.
front
I've
facing
never heard
video.
that. You're
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
I don't know when I got that, but like certain comics were starting to do it, and they called it front facing, and it made a lot of sense. It's instead of like,
I mean, it
instead
is
of
what it is.
the short film you're about to release in the fall. You'll tell me about that, but that might be you looking off and interacting with the character off camera.
Right.
You guys are looking at each other on a couch or something, and here I just see a bunch of different
My,
bewigged
yeah.
pictures of Jessica Saul on her screenshots on Instagram.
I truly, if you go to my Instagram page, it is disturbing to look at visually if you don't watch any of them because it's just like a bunch of scary faces that are paused. I think I just discovered like the feature where you can pick your photo your so like most of them are just snapshots of it right in the middle. So my eyes are like flipped outwardly. Like I look
Yes.
insane. I
I love
look
that. I love
like
knowing that inside baseball. It's like before now I didn't know that if I was blinking weird, I could
I
pick a
really
different screenshot.
yeah. 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 There's some that I might now looking at it as you're like, I'm looking at your Instagram page. I'm looking at it. I look like an insane monster person. And I might delete some of these. So thank you so much for inspiring me to revamp my page.
Oh no, I love them. It's just a really show like seeing a bunch of different versions of Jessica Saul in different wigs and different states of eye opening and mouth opening and
Oh,
eyebrow
good.
control. It's like it makes me want. I mean, you're just a character, like you seem like this
And
person can put on like 4,000 different characters, and I want to watch all of them.
eyebrow control. I love that. I'm going to put that as a skill on my resume. I can control the
Yes.
shit out of my eyebrows.
And so yeah, and it sounds like your short film that you're releasing in the fall. Tell us about that, and how is it going to differ from your front-facing videos?
Well, this film has been a bit in the making. We shot last May, and it felt so good to have a full crew come together that were just like so professional and so wonderful, and everyone got along. I was in therapy in October of 2018. My therapist told me that she was leaving the practice.
Okay.
And so she left because she just had a newborn baby. And I was just like shocked because I felt like she was breaking up with me for like somebody else, but it was her child.
Yes,
And so I
that's
was like,
wonderful.
okay. And I kind of didn't know how to process it. And I did like this stupid bit that I don't really do anymore. I just made it like a tiny stand up thing about a therapist breakup. And then I was still just like feeling so empty about it because I felt like I was actually getting to a good place in therapy. And that's like what the point is breakthroughs. Like I stopped crying all the time. And so I was shooting another short film in December of 2018, and then I was not needed at all, and I was in the film for 5 seconds. So I sat most of the time, and I wrote out a script version of like what happened, and so I basically wrote a film about a parallel to like a dramatic breakup with a traditional relationship, but with a therapist, and it's a big satire, and it's about 10 to 12 minutes. We're still finishing up the final editing process, so
I
it should
love
be out.
that. Yeah, it's such a comedy premise, the fact that you're kind of like I don't know, spoofing the fact that you're selfishly, lamenting the loss of a therapist for a
Right,
great reason, which is having a kid. It's like, but I was getting somewhere. It's like, don't you care about my progress this whole time?
right.
What was this? Yeah. I love that. And
And
so
so
like are you packaged, like in the edit, is any of the social media guidance kind of affecting the edit at all? Are you guys thinking, oh, maybe we should do a shorter version of this? Maybe we should clip it into, a series of clips that kind of show off each character or what?
I mean, it's really it's so yeah, I hate to bring up like when comics do, I think, okay, like Ricky Gervais right now has a show where he's kind of like playing himself. And I know he's not the best human and he's canceled, but like Louis C.K. had his show Louis where he played a version of himself. And it's that kind of 10-minute narrative where it's like, I'm myself, but I'm also like playing a narrative version of that. So I am Jessica in it, but there is no like gimmicky. It's meant to be like a full 10-minute short
Yeah,
story.
yeah. But at the
My
very
mom,
least, are you going to do like a teaser trailer that you're going to release a little bit in advance so that we can be on the lookout for it?
I will keep you on the lookout for it. My actual mother plays my mother, which is a real
Yes.
treat. She was so nervous to do it, and she was like had to drink wine during, and then that just became a part of the scene.
Is your mom
And
Cheryl? Is your mom Cheryl?
my mom is okay. So
Yes.
the
I see
cartoonish
her.
version,
Yeah, I see her on
that's
Instagram. She's Parkland, Florida. Cheryl's on the phone, probably talking with you.
yeah. Okay, so her name is Meryl, who I love dearly. The character's name I play is Cheryl. So technically not my mom, but highly inspired, greatly inspired by my mom.
Yes.
You know, where did you grow up, Brian?
Oh, I'm in Chicagoland. Yeah, that's where. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm from Chicago, so I'm here in New York right now, though.
right, but not. Did you grow up around Jewish people? I almost
Yeah,
just
yeah,
said a
not
hard.
yeah, not yeah, not many. Yeah, German, Swedish, and so
Right.
yeah, the
Yeah.
whole it's kind of new to me, but they're awesome.
And where did you move into New York when you first moved?
Normally Astoria. I think I've been Astoria pretty consistently.
Okay. Yeah. So that's all the cultures mixed in one. Where like I moved to the Upper East Side, like a classic New York Jew from South Florida would do. And I was
That
like, oh, nothing is different. And so then I started to expand my horizons and explore the rest of New York and then discover it is the most wonderful, diverse place in the entire world.
So initially you were like, why did I even move? If I'm just going to move
There's
to the Jewish
just
section or something.
yeah, just better bagels. That's all that the Upper East Side.
So good. The video's coming out. When's the release date?
Oh, that's a great question. So we're finishing up editing right now. The last thing that I need to do is to record myself doing that stand-up set as that would be the end of the rolling credits. So if
Oh, cool.
anyone would like to put me on their show outdoors, because I know that's all that's happening right now,
Yeah.
I just need an opportunity to do one little piece and then we could finish it.
She put off the footage. She was like, we can get the footage anytime. I'm on stage all the time, and the pandemic comes, and you're like, fuck.
Exactly. That's what literally is stopping us. And I actually moved out of New York. I mean, my lease was up and I just put my stuff in storage. So I'm currently not, I'm right outside of the city of New Jersey, but I was just like, oh, when I go and move my stuff out, I'll go and do a set, no problem. I'm like, no, why would I risk my life, my parents' life, so that I can
Yeah.
go tell a 30-second joke?
The best laid plans. I wonder if there's somebody around you who's got a brick wall. It's like it may because it's outdoor comedy. I really think you could just fucking go to a park, and it sounds like they're not using mics even. They're like
I
shouting
know.
because they're not allowed to use mics, and so you could just go to that and just pipe in some pipe in some laughter.
I did host, there was a show I did on a rooftop that I invested in it's like an amp mic. It's like a karaoke mic
Yeah.
basically that you have. And so I bought one because I did a couple of shows in my apartment. RIP that apartment. It was great. I'll miss you. But I used that for an outdoor show too. And now I was like, oh my God, outdoor shows. This was so tough to get everyone's attention. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, now I would do anything just to like go back to when those people were like kind of paying attention because
Uh,
that's all that's happening right now
I
is
was thinking,
outdoor.
could you do a Zoom, like just do a Zoom show? Because if that's a lot of the comics were doing a lot of Zoom shows and things, and you probably could jump on those fairly easily, and it would make your video look fairly fresh. Just the fact that you were
I
doing
know.
Zoom comedy.
I'm thinking about making anything right now, and that's why I feel like there's been a big pause. And sometimes I just like to take days off of social media because it is so just toxic and intimidating sometimes to just go on and see what a million other people are doing, and so you just kind of
Yeah.
have to take a rest. And I was thinking about, is it even worth like releasing a thing that doesn't even feel relevant anymore? Like there is so much going on with the world and powerful movements that are happening that we all have to pay attention to. So it feels like very vain to release something that's just like, therapy. I had a hard time.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, you could. this kind of sucks, but you could even throw in some more footage. Like some of the concerns are like, I'm totally breaking down. We're making progress, and then there's all this Black Lives Matter, and I have to talk. This is something me, Jessica Saul, a white woman, has to get through. Like, or the
Right.
pandemic. I'm very fearful. I haven't caught it, of course, but everybody else is dying. I really need to talk about this, and you're leaving me for a baby. But it's all
Right.
wrapped. It's all wrapped, and you guys had probably great locations and great sets and things and perfect sound, and throwing it in at this time would be kind of impossible. But
It would be a
yeah,
new art. I mean, I'm working on making some stuff on my own and just trying to write, but there are ways to integrate what's happening in this present moment and to create powerful narratives about that, which I think is really important. I just think sometimes you also have to be or allow yourself to create work that is reflective of you, to put yourself out there, and to also like hone it. And if it's making and bringing up joy to other people, then that's doing something too. Not to say
yeah.
that my work brings joy to other people, but everyone else should make work that
Oh no,
brings
like
joy.
when I heard that comedy premise, I was like, that's perfect. And it didn't come to mind like, oh shit, it doesn't have the pandemic or Black Lives Matter on there. And one thing I'd like to
Right.
see is like, could you do some of your front-facing videos, kind of in, promotion of the film that's coming out where you're crying about some of these things. And you're just like, my
Right.
therapist broke up with me, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end it says, coming soon, blah, blah, blah.
Right, which I most likely will. I was actually looking for a therapist last night. I don't know if you've ever done the therapy thing. I'm big about talking about it. I think it's very important. It
Yeah.
should not be a stigma anymore. But they're sold out. Like all of therapy is. And I was just like, this feels like, how everyone was like running around searching for hand sanitizer in March, and then
Yes.
like what was left was the natural hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
That's what's going on with therapy right now. It's like, oh, therapy is sold out, and all that's left is like kooky wackos that are like, I do therapy within, and I'm like, yes, but I need help.
Yeah, and I really think you could do the kooky therapist good too. So I mean, I await a video where you're both Jessica Saul herself, but also Jessica Saul playing a quirky therapist.
Okay, so not you literally just called out what I did yesterday. I did not post it because I was like, this is so stupid.
Oh, I
But
was like, I missed it. Oh no, but no, it's yeah, you got to release
I,
it. It's perfect.
I mean, I might maybe I'll do another version of it, but I basically just filmed, and this alone I think is its own version of therapy, to be honest. But
Yes.
I did like a therapy session of myself, like with myself, and then being
Got
like,
it.
should I pay you or no? And then I just like was like, this is so dumb, and then I stopped.
Well, you're like the American version of Julie Noki, who's that comedian who's doing that sort of thing. And so if we want to see these funny videos, and we do, and we hope you, get these quirky therapists and things on there, and you breaking down because your therapist left you for a baby of all things, we're gonna keep track of these things at Better Call J Saul. Because when you want
Right.
comedy, Better Call Saul, you better call J Saul.
That's right. Don't forget the J, or else you'll be taken to Netflix and you'll watch a really good series.
So yeah, yeah, come on. It won't be funny at all though. Jessica Saul, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian, and thank you to anyone who listened, aka my mother.